so many questions. Why is the world spinning? Why is the moon keeping its orbit? Can rockets fly backwards? The facts you didn't know you needed. The Useless Show.
Antarctica is Earth's coldest continent today, locked under massive ice for millions of years. Yet fossils prove it wasn't always frozen. That's partly true and partly false. Millions of years ago, Antarctica was actually a green continent, covered in forests and supporting all kinds of plants, animals, and even dinosaurs. Camels can close their nostrils completely during sandstorms. This is a key adaptation for desert life. Their humps store fat for energy, not water, letting them survive weeks without drinking in brutal desert heat. Extreme temperature swings don't stop them. A human would struggle to last even 2 days without basic supplies in the same conditions. Oceans cover about 71% of Earth's surface. That leaves just 29% as dry land we walk on. But look beneath the waves. There's a massive hidden world down there. The ocean floor is real solid ground, not just empty space. It features the deepest trenches, like the Mariana Trench plunging nearly 11 kilometers down. It's impossible to sneeze with your eyes open. Most people close their eyes automatically because it's a strong reflex. It's not truly impossible to keep them open. You can override it with conscious effort. Try it on your next sneeze if you're curious, and hey, tell us how it goes. Ancient people built Stonehenge with huge stones. The large sarsen stones came from nearby areas, about 15 to 20 miles away. The smaller blue stones came from Wales, around 140 to 180 miles away. They moved these heavy stones without wheels or machines. The circle aligns with the sun during summer and winter solstices. Experts still puzzle over how Neolithic builders achieved this amazing feat on England's plains. When two people fall deeply in love, something amazing can happen to their bodies. Their heart rates start to beat in sync. This often occurs during calm, close moments, like sitting quietly side by side or just being near each other. Even without words or touch, their hearts align in rhythm. Breathing patterns match as well. This beautiful link highlights how love unites us, even at the level of our hearts. Centipedes do not have 100 legs. Most species have around 30 legs on average. The number varies by species, from about 30 to over 300 legs. No centipede ever has exactly 100 legs. The legs help them run fast and catch prey. They use venom to hunt. So next time you see one, remember, it's not a true 100-legger. The sun is huge compared to everything else in our solar system. It makes up about 99.8% of the total mass. All the planets, moons, asteroids, and comets together form just the tiny remaining 0.2%. Without the sun's power, our planet would be cold and dark. Antarctica has active volcanoes buried deep under thick ice. The continent hides around 138 volcanoes, mostly in the west. Many lie hidden beneath miles of ice. Only a few, like Mount Erebus, stay active today. Long ago, when Antarctica was warmer and greener, volcanoes erupted more often. Losing your pinky finger hurts your grip a lot. Studies show it reduces overall hand grip strength by around 33%. That makes punching or grabbing hard in a real fight. Your hand feels weak and unstable. Switch to kicks for power and distance. Just watch out. Your opponent might pull a pistol. Gratitude practices can rewire your brain pathways over time. The method increases dopamine naturally, without any drugs. Many people use regular daily journaling routines for this purpose. They simply write down a few things they feel thankful for each day. The habit builds good mental health step by step. It becomes easier to stay positive with regular practice. The Incas were brilliant builders. At Machu Picchu, they carved wide stone terraces into steep mountain slopes. These steps turned hard, sloped land into flat fields for growing crops like corn and potatoes. This kept everything stable, even after centuries. The whole system blended perfectly with the Andes landscape. Red Bull built its brand around the catchy line, "Red Bull gives you wings." Some buyers felt tricked. They argued the drink works just like regular coffee, no real wings. A man named Benjamin Carruthers led a class action lawsuit in the US. It claimed false advertising for over a decade of sales. Red Bull chose to settle in 2014. They agreed to pay up to $13 million total. Red Bull denied any fault but wanted to avoid a long court fight. Dark matter is invisible stuff in space. It outweighs the visible matter we see, stars, planets, gas, by roughly 5 times. It also helps form big structures. Galaxy clusters and the cosmic web hold together because of dark matter's pull. Unlike normal matter, dark matter ignores light and electric forces. It only affects things through gravity. This makes it very hard to detect directly. Scientists still hunt for what it really is. Oregon has an official state nut. It is the hazelnut. The state chose it in 1989. This made Oregon the first US state with an official nut symbol. They produce nearly all the hazelnuts sold in the United States. Hazelnut trees live a long time and give tasty nuts for baking, snacks, and more. Vietnam is the world's second biggest coffee producer. Brazil grows the most. Vietnam comes next. It makes a lot of Robusta beans. Many instant coffees and strong blends use Vietnamese coffee. Next time you sip your morning cup, it could very well include beans from Vietnam's Green Highlands. If you're still with us, don't forget to like and subscribe. In the past, people sometimes ate candles during severe famines. Old candles were often made from animal fat, like beef tallow. This fat gave calories when food ran out, so candles became a desperate last resort in many hunger crises. Some farmers now paint their cows with bold black and white stripes. They do this to mimic zebras. Studies show it really works. The stripes make biting flies avoid landing. Flies get confused by the pattern. It interferes with how they see and land. This idea comes from zebras. Their stripes likely evolved to repel flies too. By the way, no two zebras have the exact same stripes. Each pattern is one of a kind, just like our fingerprints. This helps zebras recognize friends in big herds across the open African savannas. Cats are true sleep champions. Adult cats usually rest 12 to 16 hours each day. Many go up to 18 hours, and some even hit 20 when they're extra relaxed or older. They don't sleep in one big block like us. Instead, they grab lots of quick cat naps, often just 15 to 30 minutes at a time. This pattern helps them stay ready to hunt or play in short bursts. Your furry friend really doesn't worry about taxes, work, or deadlines, just endless cozy naps. In Japan, many families eat KFC on Christmas Day. It started as a smart marketing idea in 1974. KFC promoted for beakers. Backers are called In Japan, many families eat KFC on Christmas Day. It started as a smart marketing idea in 1974. KFC promoted fried chicken buckets as a fun holiday meal. Now it is a popular tradition. Millions order the party barrel every year. Only about 10% of people in the world use their left hand. As their mind, most folks' studies show, this has stayed steady for thousands of years. Men tend to be left-handed a bit more often than women. Sea sponges come in many shapes and colors. There are roughly 9,000 to 10,000 known species worldwide. Almost all live in salty ocean waters, from shallow reefs to deep dark zones. These simple animals have no brain, eyes, or true organs. New species get discovered every year because many parts of the sea stay unexplored. Ants are amazing navigators. They follow invisible pheromone trails laid down by other ants to find food and return home. Many species also use the sun as a compass to keep direction, even on cloudy days. They combine this with memories of landmarks and an internal count of steps. Some species form huge supercolonies. These massive groups work together in cooperative foraging. The largest ones, like Argentine ants, span thousands of kilometers across continents. Quasars are the brightest objects in the universe. They outshine whole galaxies by a huge amount. At their heart sits a supermassive black hole. This black hole pulls in lots of gas and dust from around it. The material spirals in fast. It forms a glowing accretion disk that gets extremely hot. Quasars blast energy across radio waves, infrared, visible light, ultraviolet, X-rays, and more. We see them from billions of light years away. That means we look back to the early universe. Carrots were originally purple. People bred the bright orange kind in the 16th century. Dutch growers created them through careful selection. Orange carrots have more beta-carotene and became the main type we eat today. Humans are tough and resilient by nature. They face many challenges, but they do not give up easily. Human brains are flexible thanks to neuroplasticity. They rewire and change with experience. This ability to learn, adapt, and grow emotionally has kept the human species alive through difficult times for thousands of years. It is one key reason humans are still here and human civilization continues to succeed. Many parrots choose one mate and stick with them for life. They form close, monogamous pairs, especially to raise their chicks together. Both parents help feed and protect the young. If one dies, the survivor may find a new partner over time. This strong bond helps them survive in the wild. Natural blonde hair is quite rare. Only about 2% of people around the world have it from birth. Many kids start with lighter hair that darkens as they grow up. Lots of women choose to dye their hair blonde later on. Some sources say up to 50% of women in places like the US or among certain groups have gone blonde at least once. This explains why you see so many blondes today, even though pure natural ones remain uncommon. The average person blinks about 15 to 20 times per minute while awake. That adds up to roughly 100,000 to 130,000 blinks per week. It's a lot of quick eye flutters to keep your eyes moist and healthy. Ostriches are the only living animals with 4 kneecaps. Each of their 2 legs has 2 kneecaps instead of 1. This unique feature helps with fast running and leg strength. Scientists still study why this evolved. Tiny algae live inside corals in a helpful partnership. The algae provide energy through sunlight and give corals their bright colors. When oceans get too warm from climate change or other stresses hit, corals become upset. They expel the algae as a response. Without the algae, corals lose their color and look white or bleached. This threatens entire reef systems. Coral reefs are home to about 1/4 of all ocean species. Wormholes are theoretical tunnels in space-time from Einstein's general relativity. They could connect distant points, acting as shortcuts across the universe. This might allow effective faster-than-light travel without breaking light speed locally. But they remain unproven and likely unstable in reality. Blueberries are full of powerful antioxidants, especially anthocyanins that give them their deep blue color. These natural compounds fight harmful free radicals and protect cells from damage. Blueberries also benefit eye health by strengthening blood vessels in the eyes and possibly helping protect vision over time. Adding them to your daily meals is an easy, tasty way to boost overall wellness. When people laugh together, their brains release endorphins, natural chemicals that make you feel happier and more relaxed. Shared laughter also creates a sense of teamwork and trust. It reminds everyone that the bond matters more than the disagreement. Rats really do laugh when you tickle them, but their laughter isn't like ours. It comes out as quick, high-frequency chirps at around 50 kHz, way too high for human ears to catch without special equipment. Scientists record them because humans can't hear the frequency. This happens mostly when rats are in a good mood. A typical cumulus cloud weighs about 1.1 million pounds, around 550 tons. This equals the water in roughly 100 big elephants or several large airplanes. Yet it floats easily because it's less dense than the surrounding air. Some cats can actually be allergic to humans, though it happens rarely. Just like people get allergies from cat fur or saliva, a few cats react to human dander, those tiny flakes of dead skin we shed every day. Their immune system sees it as a threat and overreacts. This leads to symptoms like constant scratching, red skin, sneezing, watery eyes, or irritated ears. It is part of environmental allergies in pets, similar to pollen or dust issues. Some frogs, like the wood frog, freeze solid during winter. Their bodies turn icy, with no heartbeat or breathing. In spring, they thaw out and hop away unharmed. Glucose in their bodies acts as a natural cryoprotectant. It protects cells from damage as ice forms outside them. Black pearls form inside special oysters when an irritant gets trapped. The oyster coats it with shiny layers of nacre over years. These rare gems shine with deep, dark luster. They come mostly from lagoons around Pacific islands like French Polynesia. People prize them highly for elegant jewelry. The Great Wall of China is huge. Its total length reaches about 13,171 miles when you count all sections from different eras. People started building walls long ago to keep out invaders from the north. Workers used stone, brick, earth, and even natural hills or rivers. It stands as one of the largest man-made structures in history. Termites chew wood but can't digest it alone. They rely on billions of microbes living inside their guts. These helpful bacteria and protists break down the tough cellulose into simple sugars the termites can use for energy. In Africa and Australia, some termite groups build tall, ventilated mounds. Many rise higher than a person. Some reach over 8 meters tall. Muhammad is one of the most common first names in the world. Many millions of boys and men carry this name. The name means praiseworthy. It ranks very high globally due to its deep cultural and religious importance in Muslim communities. Coca-Cola reaches almost every corner of the world. It sells in over 200 countries and territories. Yet two places stand out where it's not officially available: North Korea and Cuba. This happens because of long-standing US trade embargoes. These rules block American companies from doing business there. Smuggled or unofficial coke sometimes appears, but no legal sales or distribution exist. Meditation calms a key brain network called the default mode network. This network usually stays busy during daydreams, self-reflection, and repetitive negative thoughts. When you meditate, its activity drops noticeably. That shift cuts down on endless rumination and overthinking. Mark Zuckerberg has red-green colorblindness. This makes it hard for him to see reds and greens well, but blue stands out sharply to him. He once said blue is the richest color he can see. So he picked blue for Facebook's design. It became the platform's signature look everywhere, from the logo to buttons and backgrounds. Kale is a true superfood among leafy greens. People call it one of nature's best veggies for good reason. It contains special compounds called glucosinolates. When you chew or chop kale, these turn into powerful helpers. Its glucosinolates break down into compounds that may help fight cancer. It packs high levels of vitamins A, C, and K. These support detox processes, boost the immune system, and make meals healthier. The world's oldest known individual tree is a bristlecone pine in California. It is over 4,800 years old. Scientists confirmed this by counting tree rings from core samples. Its exact spot stays secret to keep it safe. Jellyfish are ancient sea creatures. They have floated in oceans for more than 500 million years. Sharks came next. They first appeared around 420 to 450 million years ago. Early sharks looked different, but already hunted in the seas. Then the trees arrived later. The first real trees with woody trunks grew about 385 to 400 million years ago during the Devonian period. Before that, land had only small plants. This means sharks existed before trees. Altruism can seem strange in nature. Why would any animal help others if it risks its own life or chances to reproduce? The main explanation is kin selection. Animals often act altruistically toward close relatives like siblings, parents, or offspring. They share many of the same genes. This boosts the survival of those shared genes, even if the helper pays a cost. Worker bees or ants give up their own reproduction to raise the queen's young, who carry shared genes. Owls are masters of silent hunting in the dark. Their wing feathers have soft fringes along the edges. These fringes break up rushing air and quiet the usual whooshing noise of flight. A velvety texture on the feathers helps absorb extra sound too. This lets owls glide right over prey without being heard. These adaptations let owls catch food in dark forests around the world. You may have heard that chewing gum while cutting onions stops your tears, but it's false, a common myth. Onions release an irritant gas that hits your eyes directly. Chewing gum changes your breathing or mouth movement, but it doesn't block the gas or stop the tears. Ladybugs are tiny beetles famous for eating aphids. When cold weather arrives, they don't truly hibernate like some animals. Instead, they enter a low-energy state called diapause. Many species gather in large groups, sometimes thousands together, in hidden spots like under bark, in rock cracks, or even inside buildings. Clustering helps them share warmth and stay moist during the cold months. Gravitational waves are tiny ripples that spread through space-time itself. They form when massive objects crash together, like two black holes merging far away. Albert Einstein predicted these waves back in 1915 with his theory of general relativity. Scientists first detected them in 2015 using LIGO. This proved Einstein's 1915 prediction from general relativity. It opened a new way to study the universe in modern astrophysics. Strong social ties help humans live longer. Good friends, family, and community support matter a lot for human health. Large studies show that they predict longevity even more than regular exercise or fitness levels. They cut the risk of early death by about 50% compared to weak social connections. In short, nurturing close bonds is one of the best things humans can do for a long, healthy life. Male peacocks grow elaborate trains through sexual selection. Peahens prefer males with bigger, brighter trains and more eye spots. These flashy displays signal good health and strong genes. Males fan out their trains and shake them during courtship to attract mates. This helps them win more partners and pass on traits. Walnuts look like tiny brains with their folded shape. They are rich in plant-based omega-3 fatty acids. These healthy fats support brain health. They help reduce inflammation when eaten regularly. This may protect neurological function over time. Rhinos use dung middens to communicate. These are shared poop piles in the bush. Rhinos sniff them to learn about others. The scent reveals age, sex, health, and if a female is ready to mate. Males also mark territory this way. It helps solitary rhinos share info without meeting face to face. Ancient Nabateans carved Petra into rose-red sandstone cliffs. They built this hidden city in Jordan's desert as a key trade hub. It controlled important caravan routes for spices, incense, and goods. The stunning facades and tombs show their skill and wealth. The Pacific Ocean is huge. It is the biggest ocean by far. It stretches across almost 1/3 of Earth's surface. Its area reaches around 165 million square kilometers. All the continents and islands together cover only about 149 million square kilometers of land. So the Pacific alone is larger than every piece of land put together. This vast blue space holds more water than you can imagine. Spinach contains nitrates that help boost endurance. Its leaves provide good iron too. Athletes have used this leafy green for energy since ancient times. People first grew spinach in ancient Persia long ago. Hamburg, Germany, holds the title for the city with the most bridges anywhere. It has about 2,300 to 2,500 bridges inside its city limits. Ancient canals, rivers, and waterways cross the city, so bridges connect everything. This number beats Venice, Amsterdam, and London combined. Experts still call it the Venice of the North, for good reason. The Maya built the impressive pyramid El Castillo at Chichen Itza in Mexico. This step pyramid honors Kukulkan, their feathered serpent god. Beets stand out with their deep red or golden color. This comes from special pigments called betalains. Betalains are powerful antioxidants found in few other foods. They help protect cells and may lower bad cholesterol levels in the body. This makes beets a healthy choice for root vegetable dishes and salads. Spending time in nature lowers cortisol, the body's main stress hormone. Even a short walk in a park or forest can make a big difference. These calming green spaces refresh your mind and help you feel more relaxed. France is the world's most visited country. It welcomes about 102 million international tourists each year. This keeps France at the top spot globally. Beautiful cities, history, food, and sights draw huge crowds. Moths pollinate many night-blooming flowers. They visit pale or white blooms that open at dusk and smell strong in the dark. Moths use their long tongues to sip nectar and carry pollen between plants. Some even navigate in low light using moonlight or stars as guides. Their sensitive antennae help detect scents from far away. Bison once roamed huge areas of North America in big herds. They followed food and seasons in long migrations. As they grazed, they ate tall grasses heavily in some spots. Then they moved on, giving plants time to recover. This uneven grazing created a patchwork of short and tall areas. It stopped any one grass from taking over. More kinds of plants could grow, including colorful wildflowers. Hagia Sophia stands as one of the world's most amazing buildings. Its huge central dome looks like it floats magically in the air. Byzantine architects created this wonder in the year 537. They used smart curved triangles called pendentives to hold the dome over a square space below. 40 windows circle the dome's base. Sunlight pours in and makes the dome appear weightless and heavenly. Gamma-ray bursts rank among the universe's most violent events. They happen when a huge star collapses into a black hole or when two dense neutron stars smash together. In a flash lasting seconds to minutes, they release more energy than our sun will in its whole life. From far away, they appear as brief, super bright signals in distant galaxies. Scorpions catch their food cleverly. They first grab insects or small creatures tightly with their powerful pincers. This holds the prey still. Next, they curl their tail over and sting it with venom to paralyze or kill it. Most scorpions are nocturnal. They stay hidden during the hot day in burrows, under rocks, or in cracks. At night they come out to hunt in deserts and dry areas. Ancient people used chia seeds as a key food. They were a staple for the Aztecs. When soaked, chia seeds absorb water and form a gel. This gel helps with hydration and gives steady energy. Today, they count as a top superfood. In human eyes, the lower eyelid usually has about 70 to 80 eyelashes. These short hairs act as a shield. They help keep dirt and particles out while you blink. The upper eyelid has more, around 90 to 150 lashes. Lemurs stand out with their wet noses, called a rhinarium. This moist tip helps them pick up scents much better than monkeys or apes do. It connects to a strong sense of smell and even helps detect special chemical signals from other lemurs. Their amazing diversity and unique adaptations still surprise scientists today. Parrots make sounds using a special organ called the syrinx. Unlike humans, they have no vocal cords. The syrinx sits deep in their chest where the windpipe splits. Air from the lungs passes through it and makes it vibrate. Parrots control muscles around the syrinx to create many different sounds. This lets them mimic words, whistles, and other noises very well. The gardens of Versailles show perfect Baroque symmetry. They feature grand fountains, neat paths, and hidden groves. King Louis XIII used them to impress and entertain French royalty and guests. This grand design reflects royal power and luxury. The human body produces enough heat in 30 minutes to theoretically boil about 0.5 liters of water. This comes from our normal metabolism, which generates roughly 100 watts of heat, like a bright light bulb. In half an hour, that's plenty of energy in theory. Hornets are eusocial wasps that live in large colonies. When one hornet stings an intruder or senses danger, it releases special alarm chemicals from its venom. These volatile signals spread fast through the air. Nestmates pick up the scent right away. They rush out together in a fierce, coordinated attack to protect the nest. It explains why disturbing a hornet nest can lead to many hornets swarming at once. Gravity can bend light, just as Einstein predicted. This effect is called gravitational lensing. An Einstein ring is a special, beautiful version of it. If the quasar, the galaxy, and Earth line up exactly right, the light spreads into a perfect circle. We see a glowing ring in the sky. This ring magnifies the distant quasar and helps us spot invisible mass, like dark matter. It acts like a natural telescope. The phenomenon proves Einstein's ideas about gravity and space are correct. Bats are amazing natural pest controllers. They fly out at night and eat huge numbers of harmful insects that damage crops. In the United States, this free service saves farmers more than $3.7 billion every year. The value comes from less crop loss and fewer chemical sprays needed. This does not even count extra perks, like bats helping in forests or pollinating certain plants. Protecting bats helps keep farming cheaper and more eco-friendly. Horses are very expressive animals. They use their faces to communicate just like we do. Their eyes, ears, nostrils, lips, and even inner brows move in many ways. These changes help show feelings such as happiness during play, anger in fights, curiosity, or worry. Horses send clear signals to each other in their herd. They can also read and respond to human faces. Spotted hyenas have powerful jaws that crush bones easily. They live in large matriarchal clans led by females. These clans hunt and scavenge together. Their bite is stronger than a lion's, often reaching around 1,100 psi compared to a lion's 650 psi. This helps them eat marrow from bones others leave behind. The world's largest desert is Antarctica, not the Sahara. Deserts are defined by low precipitation, not heat or sand. Antarctica gets very little rain or snow, under 2 inches per year in most areas, making it a huge polar desert covering about 5.5 million square miles. Cows are social animals with real feelings. They choose certain cows as close companions, almost like best friends. Studies show cows feel less stress and have lower heart rates when near their preferred friend. They get upset when separated from these special buddies. Supernova explosions scatter material into space. Their remnants enrich gas clouds with heavy elements like iron and oxygen. Shock waves from the blast compress nearby nebulae. This triggers new stars to form. Venus is different from most planets in our solar system. It rotates in the opposite direction. Most planets, like Earth, spin counterclockwise when viewed from above the North Pole. Venus spins clockwise instead. Scientists call this retrograde rotation. Because of it, the sun rises in the west and sets in the east on Venus. This strange backward spin is slow too. A day on Venus lasts longer than its year. Fresh cabbage packs a good amount of vitamin C. This key vitamin strengthens your immune defenses and fights off illness. Fermented versions like kimchi keep much of that nutrition. Korean traditions use this method to preserve food. What happens when you drop most metals into water? Usually nothing exciting. They just sit there or rust slowly. But with special metals like sodium and potassium, there's no way to predict calm. These alkali metals react violently. They quickly lose electrons to water, release hydrogen gas, create a lot of heat, and often explode or burst into flames. How do flies stay so steady in midair? Flies use special organs called halters, modified hindwings, that act like tiny gyroscopes. They swing fast with the wings and sense body twists using the Coriolis effect. This quick feedback helps adjust wing movements for stable, agile flight. Dipteran flies evolved these from ancient insect ancestors. Neil Armstrong, the first man on the moon, had a cool idea. He wanted to pack a football for the 1969 Apollo 11 trip. He thought it would be fun to kick it in low gravity, but NASA turned him down. They had strict rules on what astronauts could take. Every ounce counted for fuel and safety. No big extra items were allowed. Beetles have hard front wings called elytra. These protect their delicate flying wings underneath. Beetles belong to the order Coleoptera. They have diversified into about 400,000 known species. This makes them the most diverse group of animals on Earth. The fastest spinning star is a pulsar named PSOJ 1748. It spins 716 times per second. By the time you count to 3, it has already rotated over 2,000 times. Its beams sweep across space like a lighthouse, making it one of the most precise natural clocks in the universe. Australia is wider than the moon. Australia stretches about 4,000 kilometers from east to west. The moon's diameter is roughly 3,475 kilometers. This makes the continent slightly wider across than the moon is round. The blue whale has the biggest heart of any animal on Earth. This giant heart weighs around 400 pounds. People often say it is the size of a small car, like a compact one or a golf cart. It beats only a few times per minute when the whale dives deep. Each beat pushes a huge amount of blood through the whale's enormous body. This helps the blue whale, the largest animal ever, survive in the ocean depths. Mount Kilimanjaro is Africa's highest mountain. It stands at 5,895 meters tall. This makes it the continent's tallest peak. It is also a dormant volcano in Tanzania. Its main summit, Kibo, has not erupted for hundreds of thousands of years. White dwarfs are the leftover cores of stars like our sun. After the star sheds its outer layers, the hot core remains. No fusion happens anymore, so it slowly cools forever by radiating heat. It shrinks a bit at first but stays Earth-sized while fading over billions of years. The asteroid belt lies between Mars and Jupiter. It contains millions of rocky remnants from the early solar system. These are leftover planetesimals that never formed a planet. Jupiter's gravity stopped them from coming together and caused collisions. Radishes bring a bold, spicy kick when you bite into them. The pungency comes from natural compounds that open up your nasal passages. Many people find eating raw radishes helps clear stuffy sinuses and makes breathing easier during colds. Exomoons are natural satellites orbiting planets in other star systems. Many exoplanets sit in the habitable zone of their stars, the right distance for possible liquid water. If those planets have large moons, the moons could also stay in that sweet spot. This opens more places where life could perhaps develop beyond just planets. Astronomers hunt for these exomoons, though none are confirmed yet. Artichokes contain cynarin, a natural compound. It temporarily affects your taste buds. After eating them, water or other foods taste sweeter. This fun effect comes from the thistle-like buds. People often steam them for tasty Mediterranean appetizers. Alligators make deep, loud bellows during mating season. Males use these powerful calls to attract females and warn off other males. They live as ambush predators in the southeastern US wetlands. These sounds vibrate the water and travel far. Komodo dragons are huge lizards found only on a few islands in Indonesia. They hunt by staying very still and ambushing prey like deer, pigs, or buffalo. When close enough, they lunge with powerful jaws and sharp teeth. Their bite delivers venom that causes bleeding, shock, and weakness. They also carry bacteria in their mouth that can infect wounds. This clever method lets them take down animals much larger than themselves. Millipedes have a smart way to stay safe. When something disturbs or threatens them, they quickly curl their long bodies into a tight coil or spiral. This hides their soft underside and legs behind their hard outer plates. Many species also release a bad-smelling or irritating chemical for extra protection. Comets are icy bodies from the distant Oort cloud that move around the sun in long elliptical orbits. Their tails stream out as solar winds push gas and dust away from the comet when it approaches the sun. Vultures are soaring scavengers that circle widely on warm air currents called thermals to search wide areas for food. Their powerful stomach acids safely digest rotting carrion full of bacteria and protect the birds from getting sick. The Lion Gate guards Mycenae's Bronze Age citadel. Huge cyclopean walls protect the ancient fortress. They use massive stones that seem impossible to move. Snails have a radula. It is like a toothy tongue. They use it to scrape vegetation for food. Snails are hermaphroditic mollusks. They have both male and female parts. They leave a slimy trail behind them in gardens. You often see these trails in gardens after rain. The slime helps them glide smoothly over leaves and soil. The sun produces strong solar flares due to magnetic forces. These bursts release radiation and energy. They often trigger coronal mass ejections. These huge clouds of particles fly to Earth. When they hit, they disrupt radio communications and satellites. Leeks are great in the kitchen because they soften the sharp bite of onions. They bring a lovely mild sweetness too. Both vegetables belong to the allium family. Chefs gently sweat them in a little oil or butter over low heat. This releases their best flavors without browning. This classic base gives rich flavor to soups, stews, stocks, and sauces. McDonald's started by selling hot dogs. The first restaurant opened in 1940. Hot dogs were popular on the menu. In 1948, the brothers made a big change. They switched to hamburgers and faster service. This move built today's famous fast food empire. Alpine ibex are excellent climbers. These horned wild goats from the Alps scale nearly vertical dam walls. They balance carefully on steep precipices. Special hooves help them grip the rock. They climb for salt and minerals they need. The adult human body has a total of 206 bones. Interestingly, 52 bones are located in the feet. That means each foot has 26 small bones. These bones support your weight and allow smooth walking and movement throughout life. Ancient Greeks built a very special sanctuary at Delphi long ago. It was dedicated to the god Apollo. People from many places came to ask the oracle important questions. A priestess sat in the temple and spoke prophecies while in a trance. It was one of the greatest religious centers in ancient Greece. The location made everything feel sacred and powerful. Women blink nearly twice as often as men on average. They blink about 19 times per minute. Men blink only around 11 times per minute. This adds up to thousands of extra blinks every day. That's a surprising amount of blinking. Planetary nebulae are some of the most beautiful sights in space. They form when a star like our Sun grows old and reaches the end of its life. What remains is a tiny but very hot core. This core sends out strong light that makes the gas glow in stunning shades of red, blue, and green. These colourful clouds only last for a few thousand years before they slowly fade away. Limpets live on rocky shores by the sea. These small sea snails are called gastropods. They have a special foot that sticks them firmly to rocks. This strong grip keeps them safe from crashing waves. When the water comes back, limpets start to move. They graze slowly on algae that grows on the rocks. Binary stars are pairs of stars. They orbit each other due to gravity. In eclipsing binaries, one star passes in front of the other. This blocks light and causes regular dips in brightness. These repeating patterns are called light curves. Anglerfish live in the deep dark ocean. Females have a glowing lure to attract prey. They grow much larger than males. Tiny males attach to the female and fuse completely with her body. They live as permanent parasites. Thomas Edison dreamed of lighting up homes safely. Before electricity, people used smoky gas lamps that often caused fires. Edison worked with a big team in his lab. They tried thousands of different materials to make a strong filament. After many long nights and failed tests, they finally succeeded in 1879. This one invention helped shape the modern world we know today. Turnips mash into a creamy, buttery dish. Brassicas store well in cool cellars. This keeps them fresh and energizing. The roots last for many months. People enjoy them all winter long. Farmers use this simple trick often. Sea urchins look like little round balls covered in sharp spines. These spines keep them safe from hungry fish and crabs in the sea. Sea urchins belong to a group called echinoderms. They crawl slowly across the rocky ocean floor using tiny tube feet. There they nibble away at thick kelp forests and seaweed. The spines also help them grip rocks so they do not wash away. This makes them key players in keeping ocean plants in balance. Cuttlefish live in the ocean. They are very good at hiding. They can change their skin color and pattern almost instantly. They do this with special cells called chromatophores. This lets them match rocks or sand perfectly. Earth is the only known planet where fire can burn. Fire needs fuel, heat, and plenty of free oxygen in the air, as far as we know. Earth's atmosphere has about 21% oxygen, thanks to billions of years of plant life. No other planet in our solar system has enough oxygen for normal fires. The sun doesn't burn with fire. It's nuclear fusion. Axolotls can regrow lost limbs, parts of their spinal cord, and even portions of their heart without any scarring. This amazing ability makes scientists study them for clues to help human medicine. They stay as water-living juveniles their whole lives, keeping gills and never turning into land adults. They come from lakes near Mexico City. Male pufferfish are skilled artists underwater. The males spend several days building these circles. They use their fins to shape fine details in the sand. The circles can be quite large and full of ridges. Females swim by and check the quality carefully. This all happens in the shallow seas near Japan. The better the pattern looks, the more likely they find a mate. The mausoleum at Halicarnassus was an ancient wonder. It was a grand marble tomb with tall columns and a pyramid roof. Built long ago in what is now Turkey, its beautiful design amazed people for centuries. Capybaras are the largest rodents in the world. They have a very relaxed nature that lets them get along with almost every animal. In the wetlands of South America, birds often ride on their backs and monkeys sit nearby. Capybaras move slowly through grass and water while sharing space peacefully. Deep inside Earth, the inner core spins at a slightly different speed than the surface layers. This difference plays a role in making our planet's magnetic field. The field works like an invisible shield around Earth. It stops dangerous particles from solar winds from reaching us. Electric eels are special fish found in the Amazon River basin. They can create powerful electric shocks of 600 volts or more. The eels use these shocks to stun their prey and protect themselves from danger. In the murky, dark waters where they live, they send out weaker electric signals. This helps them sense objects and find their way around when they cannot see clearly. A day on Earth is not exactly 24 hours. The planet spins once in 23 hours and 56 minutes. Earth orbits the Sun at the same time. This makes our day average 24 hours. Earth's spin slows down over time. Days are slowly getting longer each year. Experts watch these small changes closely. Bowerbirds build elaborate structures to attract mates. Males decorate them with bright colors and shiny objects. They act like artists during courtship. These clever Australian birds create beautiful displays. Females inspect every detail with care. The best design wins a partner. It is one of nature's most creative shows. Fingernails grow about 3.5 millimeters per month on average. This equals roughly 1/10 of a millimeter each day. Age and health can affect the speed. Fingernails grow faster than toenails. Your middle finger often grows quickest. You heard that right. It's true. Male frigatebirds inflate red pouches for mating displays. These seabirds soar over oceans with little flapping. They fly for hours without stopping. They often steal food from other birds mid-air. The bright red pouch catches every eye. Females watch the show from above. It is a dramatic sight on the open sea. Glass frogs are tiny and delicate with see-through skin on their bellies. You can actually see their small heart and other organs inside. This special feature helps them hide perfectly on green leaves. They live high in the trees of Central American rainforests. Males call loudly for mates at night, but stay safe from hungry predators. Secretary birds stand tall with very long legs as they walk through the grass. These unique raptors hunt snakes by stomping them hard with powerful kicks. You can find them in the open grasslands of Africa. Their legs deliver crushing strikes that kill even venomous snakes quickly. They are skilled and fearless hunters. The fossa looks like a cat, but moves like an expert climber in Madagascar. It hunts lemurs, high in the trees with amazing speed and silence. This animal is the largest carnivore on the island and has no rivals. You will see it in the dense forests where it controls the ecosystem. It developed its special body and hunting style over millions of years in isolation. Ants never sleep the way people do. They stay busy with lots of short rest breaks instead. Worker ants grab hundreds of quick naps every day, each one lasting just a minute or so. This pattern lets them keep working around the clock without ever stopping for long. Queen ants enjoy more rest, but they still break it up. Soala got the nickname Asian unicorns because they are so hard to find. These shy plant eaters look like small cattle with two long straight horns on their heads. They hide deep in the misty mountains along the border of Vietnam and Laos. Sadly, only a tiny number remain in the wild today. The species sits at the highest level of danger and could disappear soon. Okapis look part zebra and part deer with those bold stripes on their legs. Yet they are actually the closest living relatives of giraffes. These gentle animals stay well hidden in the thick rainforests of the Congo. They reach up with long tongues to pull leaves from branches and stay safe from sight. People rarely spot them, so they remain one of the forest's best-kept secrets. Eyes are strange little lemurs that hunt at night in Madagascar. They tap on tree trunks with their long, skinny middle fingers to find hidden grubs inside. Then they listen carefully with super sensitive ears. Once they locate a meal, they chew a hole and pull the grub out. Big round eyes give them perfect night vision. Astronauts on the International Space Station get an amazing show every day. The station circles Earth once every 90 minutes. That fast orbit means they see 16 sunrises and 16 sunsets in just 24 hours. One moment, bright daylight fills the windows. Then suddenly night falls and stars appear. A short while later, the sun pops up again. Crew members never get tired of watching the quick cycle from 250 miles above our planet. White rhinos are not really white at all. Their skin is grey like other rhinos. The name started long ago when someone misheard the Dutch word wide, which means wide. It described the animal's broad square mouth, perfect for grazing grass. Over years, the word changed to white, and it stayed. These huge creatures roam African grasslands and use those wide lips to munch short plants close to the ground every day. Gerbos look like miniature kangaroos hopping across hot desert sands in Asia. They push off with powerful hind legs and use their long tails to stay steady in the air. During the day, they hide inside cool burrows. They dig deep in the ground. When night comes, they pop out to look for seeds and insects. Indri lemurs live only in Madagascar's rainforests. They are the biggest lemurs alive. Families sing haunting, wail-like songs together in the morning. The calls travel over a mile to defend territory. Indris leap up to 30 feet between trees with their strong back legs. They climb and jump upright through the canopy all day. Every day, people shed between 50 and 100 hairs from their scalp. It happens naturally as old hairs fall out and new ones grow. Most folks have over 100,000 scalp hairs, so this small amount doesn't cause thinning or bald spots. It's completely normal unless loss jumps much higher. Colugos, also called flying lemurs, glide up to 200 feet between trees. These membrane winged mammals live in Southeast Asian forests. They move silently at night while foraging for food. Binturongs smell like buttered popcorn because of special scent glands. These bear-like cats climb trees in Borneo and other Asian forests. They eat fruits at night. Numbats eat only termites with their long, sticky tongues. These striped marsupials live in Western Australia's woodlands. They stay active during the day, basking in the sun. The human femur is one of the strongest bones. It can handle huge force. Under straight compression, it supports up to roughly 6 tons before breaking. This equals about 30 times an average adult's body weight. Strong structure and thick walls make it tough. Babies are born with eyes about 2/3 their adult size. Eyes grow quickly in the first few years and finish around age 20. After that, eye size stays the same, but noses and ears continue growing slowly through life because of cartilage and gravity. This makes them look bigger over time. Dibblers are tiny, rare marsupials from southwest Western Australia. They face endangerment and live hidden in heathlands. These nocturnal hunters move fast to catch insects, spiders, small lizards, and even birds. Speckled fur helps them blend in. They stay mostly alone and active at dawn or dusk. In the Middle Ages, sugar cost a lot and stayed rare. Only the rich could afford it. People treated it like a spice or medicine. Honey was the common sweetener for most folks. Sugar came from far away and signaled high status at fancy meals. Modern planes are built with excellent safety systems. Because of this, around 90% of plane crashes still have survivors. Better materials, stronger seats, and smart designs give passengers a real chance to walk away even after serious accidents. Unlike regular kangaroos, tree kangaroos spend most of their life high up in rainforest trees. They have strong arms and sharp claws for climbing. While they move easily among branches, they appear slow and awkward when they come down to the forest floor. According to Einstein, time does not always flow at the same speed. Near huge objects with strong gravity, time actually slows down. This idea, called time dilation, has been proven by scientists using very precise clocks. In 1971, a programmer created the world's first computer virus. It was called Creeper and worked on the early internet. The virus simply displayed, "I'm the Creeper, catch me if you can." Another program called Reaper was quickly made to remove it. A woman named Ruth Wakefield invented the chocolate chip cookie. She owned the Toll House Inn in Massachusetts. While baking one day in the 1930s, she added pieces of chocolate to her cookies. The sweet treat soon became one of the most popular desserts everywhere. A hedgehog's body is covered with thousands of sharp spines called quills. Most adult hedgehogs have between 5,000 and 7,000 of them. When threatened, they roll into a tight ball so the quills point outward in every direction. The honey possum is one of the smallest marsupials in the world. It uses its long brush-like tongue to drink nectar from flowers in southwest Australia. As it moves between blooms, this little animal spreads pollen and helps many native plants grow. On average, a person experiences about 1,400 dreams every year. You may have 4 to 6 dreams during a normal night of sleep. The brain creates these stories while you rest, but most people remember only a few of them. Wallabies are like small kangaroos. They have strong back legs for hopping and live in many parts of Australia. These social animals often stay in small groups while eating grass and leaves during the day or night. Octopuses have an incredible sense of taste in their tentacles. Each sucker contains special sensors that can taste and feel at the same time. This helps them hunt and stay safe in the deep dark ocean, even when their eyes cannot see everything. There are far more chickens than people on Earth. The world has about 8.3 billion humans today. Farmers raise around 26 to 28 billion chickens at any given moment. Most are bred quickly for meat or eggs and live short lives. This huge number comes from our big demand for cheap chicken food. Chickens outnumber humans by about 3 to 1, making them the most common bird by far. Dolphins have a very clever way to sleep. They never fully shut down both sides of their brain like we do. Instead, they rest one half at a time. This is called unihemispheric slow-wave sleep. While one side sleeps deeply, the other side stays alert. The awake half handles important tasks. It makes sure the dolphin swims to the surface to breathe air and keeps an eye out for sharks or other dangers. That was the best set of facts that you can keep thinking about in the night. Which fact blew your mind the most? Tell us in the comments. Hit the like button, subscribe, and don't forget to check our recommendations and other social platforms.
Here's something that'll change how you eat leftovers forever. When you cook rice, let it cool, and then reheat it. Something quietly incredible happens inside those grains. The cooling process converts some of the starch into a special type of fiber your body handles completely differently. That fiber helps regulate your blood sugar and keeps you fuller longer. Basically, your leftover rice is healthier than the fresh stuff. You know the blobfish, right? Here's the thing. In its natural deep-sea habitat, it looks completely normal. It only melts into that tragic face when it's yanked up from the crushing pressure of the ocean floor. So really, we've all just been laughing at a fish that's having a bad day. There's a lake in Western Australia that is permanently bubblegum pink. Not for a season, not because of a filter. Year-round, bright pink. Lake Hillier gets its color from algae and bacteria thriving in its insanely salty water. Scientists say it's completely harmless to swim in, so there's a real-life pink lake just sitting there, and most people have never heard of it. Most cats treat water like it's their mortal enemy, but the Turkish van cat actively seeks it out. We're talking one of the only domestic cat breeds that genuinely, enthusiastically enjoys swimming. It'll hop in a pool. It'll wade into a stream. It doesn't care. While your cat is dramatically hissing at a dripping faucet, the Turkish van is out there living its best life. Goats have eyes that look like something out of a horror movie, rectangular, horizontal pupils that seem totally wrong. But there's a genius reason for it. Those creepy pupils give goats nearly 320 degrees of vision without even moving their heads. They can see predators coming from almost every direction at once. So next time a goat stares at you and it feels unsettling, just remember, it already saw you long before you saw it. If you're enjoying these facts so far, make sure to hit that like button. It really helps. Now let's keep going. The Atacama Desert in Chile is one of the driest places on Earth, basically a wasteland. But every few years, after rare rainfalls, something unbelievable happens. Millions of wildflowers explode across the desert floor in a massive carpet of color. They call it Deserto Florido, the flowering desert. Nature does what it wants. Switzerland has built enough nuclear fallout shelters to house its entire population of over 8 million people. Every single person in the country has a spot. Switzerland isn't out here being dramatic. They've just quietly prepared for the literal apocalypse, while the rest of us are hoping for the best. Sleep well knowing Switzerland is ready, and you are absolutely not. Sea cucumbers breathe through their rear end. Just going to let that sink in for a second. They actively draw water in through their anus to extract oxygen for their organs. That's not a malfunction. That's the system. Evolution looked at the sea cucumber and said, you know what? Let's put the breathing hole back there. And the sea cucumber just went with it. The Potu bird has mastered the art of doing absolutely nothing and somehow surviving because of it. It perches bolt upright on a broken tree stump during the day and becomes completely indistinguishable from dead wood. Predators walk right past it. Scientists nearly miss it. Uranus doesn't spin upright like every other planet. It rolls. Its axial tilt is 98 degrees, which means it's essentially tumbling along on its side through space. Its poles get more sunlight over a Uranian year than its own equator does. Everything about Uranus is chaotic, and somehow that makes it even more fascinating. Deep in our galaxy, there's a massive gas cloud called Sagittarius B2, and scientists discovered a molecule inside, it called ethyl formate, which smells like rum and reportedly tastes like raspberries. There's a cloud in space that tastes like a raspberry cocktail. We have a whole galaxy full of wonders, and apparently one of them is a cosmic drink. Chile is the longest country on Earth from north to south, stretching 4,270 kilometers. To put that in perspective, it spans more latitudinal distance than the contiguous United States does from east to west. You could start at the top of Chile and drive the length of it and still not be done by the time most people would have given up and gotten a flight. The mimic octopus doesn't just blend into its background like a regular octopus. It actually impersonates other creatures, lionfish, flatfish, sea snakes, on the spot, picking whichever one is most likely to scare off the specific predator in front of it. Over 15 different animals. It's running a full disguise operation on the ocean floor. When a baby elephant is upset or distressed, the entire herd doesn't just ignore it and keep walking. Every adult surrounds the calf and gently touches it with their trunks in a coordinated, deliberate effort to comfort it. Every single one. Imagine having a bad day and your entire extended family shows up just to let you know you're loved. Elephants figured out community support long before humans. The Maldives is the flattest country in the world. Its highest natural point is only about 2.4 meters above sea level. That means the entire country is basically sitting right at ocean level. With rising sea levels, the Maldives could genuinely disappear underwater within decades. One of the most beautiful places on Earth might literally cease to exist. Scientists discovered a chameleon in Madagascar in 2021, so small, it fits on a human fingertip. They named it Brookesia nana. It's the world's tiniest known reptile. A fully grown adult chameleon, sitting on your fingertip. And it still probably looks at you like it owns the place because chameleons have energy like that regardless of size. If you're still here, comment fact gang down below. Let me know you're one of the real ones. Now back to it. Male giraffes figure out if a female is ready to mate by tasting her urine. That is the official process. A sensory behavior called the Flehmen response helps them detect reproductive hormones this way. Nature did not have to make it like this, but here we are. Under 4 kilometers of Antarctic ice, there's a lake the size of Lake Ontario that has been completely sealed off from the rest of the world for approximately 15 million years. Lake Vostok, liquid freshwater, isolated since before humans existed. Scientists believe it might contain life forms that have evolved entirely on their own with zero contact with anything else on Earth. Whatever is down there has never seen sunlight. Weaver ants form living chains with their own bodies to act as a pulley system, pulling objects far heavier than any single ant could move alone. They link up, lock in, and collectively haul massive leaves to build their nests. It's organized, it's efficient, and it's honestly more coordinated than most group projects involving humans. There's an island archipelago off Yemen called Socotra, and scientists have given it a very specific nickname, the Galapagos of the Indian Ocean. So many of its species exist absolutely nowhere else on Earth that it feels like visiting an alien planet. There's a sea slug called Alesia chlorotica that steals the ability to photosynthesize from the algae it eats. It takes the chloroplasts right out of the algae and incorporates them into its own body tissue, then uses sunlight to produce its own food. A sea slug figured out how to become part plant. It just decided the rules didn't apply to it. There's a palm tree in Borneo called Pananga subterranea that grows its flowers and fruit entirely underground, buried in the soil, never visible above the surface. It's the only known palm on Earth that does this. So if you're walking through the Borneo jungle, there are palm fruits just chilling underground beneath your feet, and you'd never know. The plant kingdom is full of secrets. The letter J doesn't appear anywhere on the periodic table of elements. Not in a single element name. Not in a single chemical symbol. Every letter in the alphabet gets to be part of science, except JJ is just standing outside the periodic table looking in, you know. A small pond frog can swallow a live hornet whole and survive the stings happening inside its own stomach while digesting it. The hornet is stinging from the inside. The frog does not care. Frogs are tougher than they have any right to be. The village of Mawsynram in northeast India gets about 11,871 millimeters of rain every single year. To put that in perspective, that's roughly 10 times what London gets annually. It rains there so much that locals wear special grass-woven umbrellas that cover their entire body like a portable roof. Mawsynram is the wettest inhabited place on Earth, and the people there have simply adapted and moved on. The world's tallest sand dune isn't in the Sahara. It's in Argentina. Duna Federico Curbis rises roughly 1,234 meters high, more than twice the height of the Burj Khalifa, the tallest building on Earth. It's a sand dune, just loose sand, piled up higher than any skyscraper humanity has ever built. Argentina has a sand mountain, and most people don't even know it exists. In Australia's Shark Bay, there's a seagrass meadow covering 180 square kilometers that is actually a single plant. One plant. It grew from a single seedling estimated to be over 4,500 years old and just kept going. It's the world's largest known plant clone. While civilizations rose and fell, this plant just quietly kept spreading across the ocean floor. The most patient living thing on Earth. Russia's Kamchatka Peninsula has 30 active volcanoes clustered together in one place. 30. The most geologically restless landscape on the planet. It's bubbling and erupting and rumbling constantly, and people live there. By choice, Kamchatka residents wake up every morning like, yep, still 30 volcanoes. Everything's fine. Let's make breakfast. The highest motorable road on Earth isn't in the Alps or the Andes. It's Umlingla Pass in India's Ladakh region, sitting at 5,942 meters above sea level. You can drive a car up there. A regular road, open to vehicles, almost 6 kilometers above sea level. The air is so thin you'd feel it immediately. Baby sharks in the same litter can have different fathers. Female sharks store sperm from multiple males and fertilize different eggs with different batches. So a litter of shark pups might be half siblings at best. One mother, one belly, multiple dads. Sharks have complicated family structures, and they didn't ask for your opinion about it. The strawberry poison dart frog is only about the size of a thumbnail, but it carries each of its tadpoles, one at a time on its back, climbs up into the tree canopy, and deposits each one in a separate tiny pool of water collected in a leaf. Then it comes back regularly to feed each tadpole unfertilized eggs, individually, one by one. A frog the size of your thumbnail is a better parent than most. Cats cannot taste sweetness at all. They're the only mammals on Earth that are completely missing the gene for detecting sugar. Every time you try to share your dessert with your cat and it walks away unimpressed, it's not being rude. It literally cannot taste what you're offering. The universe gave cats the ability to be picky and then remove the gene that would make treats irresistible. Cats are truly built different. Subscribe now so you never miss out on more facts like these. Lake Baikal in Russia is so deep that it alone contains about 20% of all unfrozen fresh surface water on the entire planet. One lake, 20%. If every other lake on Earth dried up tomorrow, Baikal would still be holding a fifth of the world's freshwater supply. It's not just a lake. It's a backup plan for civilization. The ocean's sunfish can weigh up to 2.3 tons, making it the heaviest bony fish in the world. And its primary food of choice is jellyfish, which have almost no nutritional value whatsoever. This enormous fish is out here eating the least nutritious thing in the ocean to fuel a body the size of a car. The marula tree of southern Africa produces fruit that ferments naturally on the ground after it falls. And elephants, warthogs, and baboons eat enough of it to get visibly, undeniably drunk. Whole herds of elephants stumbling around. Baboons acting unpredictably, warthogs lying on their sides. Nature's version of a weekend. Pluto has a giant heart-shaped glacier made of nitrogen ice. It's so massive and so heavy that it has slightly tilted Pluto's entire rotational axis toward it. A heart-shaped ice formation is physically warping the orientation of a dwarf planet. Pluto's rotating around its own heart. That's either the most romantic or most dramatic thing in the solar system, and there is no in-between. Dragonflies catch more than 95% of the prey they chase. Not some of it. Not most of it. 95%. They are the most statistically successful hunters in the entire animal kingdom, beating lions, wolves, great white sharks. All of it. The tiny insect hovering over your garden pond has a better kill rate than every apex predator on the planet. Let that rearrange your understanding of what scary looks like. The Namib Desert isn't just a desert. It's the world's oldest desert, estimated to be between 55 and 80 million years old. It was a desert when dinosaurs were still alive. It was ancient before the Rocky Mountains existed. It has been hot, dry, and inhospitable longer than most of Earth's current geography has existed. The Namib Desert has seen everything and will outlast all of us. There's a large frog in Dominica called the mountain chicken. It earned that name entirely because of how it tastes when cooked. It has absolutely no resemblance to a chicken in any other way. Scientists actually called it the mountain chicken in an official capacity. Frog, named after a bird, because someone ate it and said, scientific naming has given us a lot of great moments, and this might be the greatest. Amazon river dolphins are naturally pink. Real, living, pink dolphins. And local Amazonian folklore says they transform into handsome young men at night and come ashore to seduce people in riverside villages. Scientists study the pink dolphins. Locals have a completely different relationship with them. Both perspectives are fascinating, and only one of them involves shape-shifting. Giant oceanic manta rays have the largest brains of any fish on Earth, and they are one of the very few non-mammalian animals that can recognize themselves in a mirror. Self-awareness. In a fish. A manta ray looks at its reflection and understands that it's looking at itself. The ocean is full of creatures smarter than we give them credit for, and the manta ray is quietly near the top of that list. The largest confirmed meteorite impact crater on Earth is the Vredefort Dome in South Africa, with an original estimated diameter of 250 to 300 kilometers. A space rock hit Earth so hard it left a scar the size of a small country. It happened about 2 billion years ago. The Earth has been through things. It has seen violence we cannot comprehend, and it's still here. Blue whale calls reach 188 decibels. Louder than a jet engine. Measurably, scientifically, the loudest animals on Earth. A blue whale's voice carries through hundreds of kilometers of ocean. If you were underwater near one and it called out, the sound could damage your hearing permanently. The gentlest giants on the planet also have the most powerful voices. Reykjavik. Iceland heats almost its entire city using underground hot springs. Nearly 90% of the heating in people's homes, offices, and buildings comes straight from geothermal water piped up from beneath the Earth's surface. No boiler, no gas bill. Just a planet that runs warm underneath, and a country smart enough to use it. Butterflies look delicate and harmless fluttering around your garden. But some species have compound eyes packed with up to 12,000 tiny lenses, giving them wide-angle vision in almost every direction at once. And they can see ultraviolet light that's completely invisible to you. So while you're admiring the butterfly, it's seeing an entirely different version of the world that your brain literally cannot process. The male Victoria's riflebird of Australia has developed one of the most bizarre courtship displays in the entire animal kingdom. When trying to impress a female, it spreads both wings out into a perfect black disc and oscillates them so precisely that it creates a shimmering optical illusion. The bird appears completely flat and two-dimensional. Electric eels don't just shock things underwater. Researchers confirmed in 2016 that they can partially launch themselves out of the water and deliver a shock to animals standing above the surface. They literally jump out of their element to attack on land. And you thought you were safe standing on the bank. Humans are the only animals on Earth with a true chin. No other creature has that bony protrusion below the lower lip. Not apes, not dolphins, not any other mammal. And here's the thing. Scientists still actively debate why we even have it. It doesn't seem to serve an obvious function. The chin is a mystery, and nobody wants to admit it. The axolotl salamander can regrow its limbs. That part you may have heard. But it can also regrow its heart, its lungs, its eyes, portions of its brain and spinal cord. All of it, with zero scar tissue, like the damage never happened. Scientists are studying axolotls because if we can figure out how they do it, we might unlock the same ability in human medicine. Voyager 1 was launched in 1977. By 2012, 35 years later, it became the first human-made object to cross into interstellar space, leaving our solar system entirely. It's still out there right now, billions of kilometers away, and we're still receiving signals from it. A machine built in the 1970s is currently traveling through the space between stars. Whatever engineer made that thing, they built it right. Octopuses are already incredible, but here's one that'll genuinely floor you. They can edit their own RNA in real time to adapt to temperature changes. Not their DNA, their RNA. They're essentially reprogramming themselves on the fly without touching their underlying genetic code. Octopuses figured out a form of genetic self-editing that humans are only just beginning to understand. They've been doing advanced biology for millions of years, and we're just now catching up. Wait a second. Did you like the video yet? No. Go ahead, I'll wait. Some species of tarantula can go over 2 years without eating a single thing. Not a few days, not a few weeks. 2 full years, and they remain completely healthy the whole time because their metabolism is so slow it barely burns anything. Meanwhile, most humans panic if they miss lunch. The tarantula simply operates on a different relationship with time and hunger, and we could never. Every autumn in Iceland, baby puffins called pufflings naturally follow moonlight out to the sea. Except coastal city lights confuse them completely, and they crash land inland instead. So every year, locals organize what they call puffling patrols, going out at night to pick up stranded baby birds and carry them safely back to the ocean. Cuttlefish have W-shaped pupils, already strange. But they also detect polarized light that's completely invisible to humans, and they use it to flash visual signals to each other that their predators literally cannot see. They're having private conversations in a wavelength of light that their enemies can't perceive. Lobster blood is completely colorless when it's deoxygenated. It only turns blue when oxygen hits it. That's because lobsters use copper-based hemocyanin instead of the iron-based hemoglobin that makes our blood red. The same concept, completely different metal, totally different color. The boiling river in Peru was considered a local legend for years. Scientists and outsiders wrote it off as myth. Then in 2011, a geoscientist finally confirmed it. A 6-kilometer stretch of river, heated to near boiling temperatures by geothermal activity deep under the Amazon. It had been there the whole time, doing exactly what the locals said it was doing. The world's smallest known fish is Petocypris progenetica from Indonesia. It reaches a maximum length of 7.9 millimeters as a fully grown adult. That's roughly the size of a large grain of rice, a complete functioning vertebrate, fins, skeleton, organs, smaller than your thumbnail. The ocean contains creatures so tiny they make regular fish look like sea monsters. Take a teaspoon of healthy topsoil from your garden. That single teaspoon contains more individual microorganisms than there are human beings on the entire planet. More in a teaspoon. Every step you take outside is across an invisible civilization, so dense it defies comprehension. The dirt beneath your feet is more populated than Earth itself. In Venezuela, there's a natural waterway called the Cassiquiare Canal, and it's the only permanent natural channel on Earth that connects two major river systems. It links the Amazon and the Orinoco, two massive rivers, through a naturally formed canal with no human engineering involved. Most people think the giant squid is the largest invertebrate on Earth. It's not. The colossal squid of Antarctica is bigger, estimated to reach 14 meters long and weigh up to 750 kilograms. We've never seen a fully grown adult alive in the wild. We know it exists mostly from remains found in sperm whale stomachs. Something the size of a school bus is living in the deep Antarctic Ocean, and we can barely study it. Stick around, because the facts only get stranger from here. Some wandering albatrosses don't land anywhere for the first several years of their lives. Not on land, not on water. They just fly, continuously, over the open ocean, for years. They sleep while gliding on wind currents. Jellyfish Lake in Palau has millions of golden jellyfish in it. And because they've been isolated from predators for thousands of years, they evolved without functioning stinging cells. You can swim through millions of jellyfish and not get stung once. Astronauts on the International Space Station lose up to 2% of their bone density every single month in microgravity. That's the same rate as patients with severe osteoporosis, one of the most serious bone conditions on Earth. And astronauts on long missions experience it constantly. Every astronaut comes back a little bit older in their bones than they should be. The Amazon rainforest generates so much water vapor through its trees that it creates its own weather. Trees pull water from the soil, release it through their leaves, and that moisture rises and forms rain clouds, then rains back down on the forest. Researchers call these massive invisible moisture flows flying rivers. The Amazon is not just absorbing rain, it's manufacturing it. The forest is its own weather system, and it's been running itself for millions of years. The geoduck clam of the Pacific Northwest can weigh up to 3 kilograms, extend its siphon over a meter long, and live for more than 150 years. Manatees, gentle, slow-moving sea giants, are among the only non-human animals known to develop age-related farsightedness. As they get older, their close-up vision naturally deteriorates, just like humans reaching for their reading glasses. A manatee squinting at something close by is one of the most relatable images in the entire animal kingdom. Ostriches have eyes larger than their own brains. Each eyeball measures about 5 centimeters in diameter, the biggest eye of any land animal on Earth. Their skulls had to make a trade-off: incredible vision or bigger brain. They went with vision. Some might call that a poor decision. Others might say seeing predators from a kilometer away is a perfectly reasonable priority. Sea stars have no brain, no blood either. They pump actual seawater through their bodies to power their tube feet and circulate nutrients. The ocean itself is running through them like a hydraulic system. A creature with no brain, no blood, and no concern for your concept of biology, just casually regrowing arms and walking along the ocean floor. When male spiders offer females a wrapped gift of food during courtship, and the female unwraps it to find it's empty or stuffed with worthless debris, she refuses the male. Sometimes she attacks him. He tried to scam a spider on a date with fake presents, and she found out. The animal kingdom has been dealing with dishonest gift givers for millions of years, and the females, the spiders have zero tolerance for it. The island nation of Nauru in the Pacific was once the richest country per capita on the entire planet. Phosphate mining made it extraordinarily wealthy, almost overnight. Then they mined 80% of their land completely bare and nearly went bankrupt by the early 2000s. From the richest nation per capita in the world to a hollowed-out island in a few decades. A significant portion of the fine white sand on tropical paradise beaches is actually parrotfish excrement. They bite off chunks of coral with their beaks, grind it up internally, and expel the crushed calcium carbonate as sand. The perfect beach you've been dreaming of vacationing on. Largely fish poop. Before you swear off beaches forever, it's harmless, it's natural, and the parrotfish have been making that sand for millennia. The Tasmanian devil produces a scream so disturbing, so shrieking and unearthly in the dark, that early European settlers in Australia became genuinely convinced something supernatural was lurking in the bush. They had never heard anything like it. They thought it was a demon. The oarfish is the world's longest bony fish, sometimes exceeding 11 meters. It's rarely seen alive. It lives in deep water and almost only surfaces when it's sick or dying, washing up on beaches in dramatic, serpentine fashion. For centuries, people had no idea what it was. It almost certainly inspired sea serpent legends all over the world. The Eurasian jay can remember over 200 different locations where it's hidden food. And it doesn't just retrieve randomly. It prioritizes going back for the most perishable items first, planning ahead to make sure nothing rots before it gets eaten. A bird is mentally tracking an inventory of 200 items and managing it by expiration date. Morning Glory Pool in Yellowstone was once a perfect, brilliant sapphire blue. Over decades, tourists threw so many coins, rocks, and trash into it that the water's chemistry changed. Today, its edges are orange and green. A geothermal wonder that took thousands of years to form was visibly altered by people tossing spare change into it like a wishing well. Every single night, up to 20 million Mexican free-tailed bats pour out of Bracken Cave in Texas in a continuous stream. 20 million. The largest single gathering of warm-blooded mammals on the entire planet. And it happens every night just outside San Antonio. The sky above that cave is solid bats for hours. In 1977, a fish merchant decided he needed to sell the Patagonian toothfish. Sounds like a difficult sell, right? So he renamed it Chilean sea bass. Overnight, it went from an obscure deep water fish nobody wanted to a prized restaurant delicacy appearing on fine dining menus worldwide. Spotted Lake in British Columbia looks completely ordinary in the winter. But every summer, when the water partially evaporates, the minerals crystallize and the lake transforms into a landscape of hundreds of multicolored circular pools, yellow, olive, blue, like a polka dot painting on the ground. Indigenous peoples of the region have considered it sacred for centuries. It transforms every year like clockwork, a natural art installation that resets itself with the seasons. The Himalayan jumping spider has been found living above 6,700 meters, higher than most birds fly, higher than most plants grow. It survives on tiny insects blown up by wind currents from below. No other animal is known to permanently reside that high. The pink fairy armadillo of Argentina is the world's smallest armadillo, about 10 centimeters long, roughly the size of a chipmunk. Its pink shell isn't actually its main defense. It uses the shell primarily to regulate body temperature, flushing blood through it to cool down or warm up. It's so small and so rarely seen that scientists still know very little about its behavior in the wild. Some species of deep-sea fish have no functional digestive system as adults. None. They do all of their eating, growing, and energy storing during their larval stage before they descend to the depths. Once they're fully grown, digestion is over. They live entirely off reserves, built up before they became adults. A creature that eats for the first chapter of its life and then just exists on what it stored. An ocean quahog clam nicknamed Ming was discovered off the coast of Iceland in 2006. Scientists estimated its age at 507 years old, meaning it was alive during the actual Ming dynasty when researchers collected it for testing. They killed it during the process of determining how old it was. The oldest confirmed animal ever found, and we accidentally ended it while trying to learn its age. Some shark species must keep swimming or they suffocate. They rely on forward motion to push water over their gills in a process called ram ventilation. Stop moving, stop breathing. For these sharks, rest is not an option. They swim while sleeping. They swim their entire lives without ever stopping. In the Karakum Desert of Turkmenistan, there is a crater that has been burning continuously since 1971. Soviet engineers drilled into it, triggered a collapse, and ignited the gas pocket hoping it would burn off within days. It didn't. More than 50 years later, it's still going. Locals call it the door to hell, and for once, a nickname is entirely accurate. The purple sea urchin shows virtually no biological signs of aging. Specimens confirmed to be over 100 years old have been found with the same tissue health and reproductive capacity as young ones. Their cells simply don't decline the way most animals' cells do. Scientists are studying them specifically because the mechanism behind this might help unlock answers about how biological aging works in other species, including ours. Humboldt squid can flash from deep red to brilliant white in under a second. Researchers believe these rapid color changes function as a complex communication system between individuals, a language written entirely in light, operating faster than the human eye can track. Whatever they're saying to each other, they're saying it at the speed of a camera flash. Horseshoe crabs have existed on this planet, completely unchanged, for over 450 million years. They were here before the dinosaurs and survived every mass extinction that followed. Today, pharmaceutical companies harvest their blue blood because it remains the most reliable substance available for detecting bacterial contamination in medical equipment and vaccines. An animal that has outlasted nearly everything on Earth is now one of modern medicine's most important tools. Every November on Christmas Island, roughly 50 million bright red crabs simultaneously emerge from the jungle and march to the sea to spawn. Roads close. The island turns crimson. It is one of the most visually overwhelming wildlife migrations on the planet, and it happens on schedule, every year, without fail. In 1986, a volcanic pocket of carbon dioxide built up silently beneath Lake Nyos in Cameroon. Overnight, it burst. An invisible cloud of CO2 rolled out across the surrounding valleys and asphyxiated approximately 1,700 people and thousands of livestock while they slept. There was no explosion, no warning, no sound. Just a lake that exhaled, and everything within range stopped breathing. On the floor of the deep ocean, between Hawaii and California, billions of potato-sized nodules packed with nickel, cobalt, and rare metals sit largely undisturbed. They grow at approximately 1 centimeter per million years. Mining companies are actively debating extraction. We've located a vast deposit of the exact materials driving modern technology, sitting at the bottom of the Pacific, growing at a rate that makes geological time look rushed. Female spotted hyenas give birth, urinate, and mate through an elongated, making them one of the only mammals where male and female external anatomy look nearly identical. The mortality rate during first-time births is extremely high as a direct result of this structure. The spotted hyena is widely regarded as one of the toughest animals on the planet. The biology goes a long way toward explaining why. In Africa, the greater honey-guide bird actively leads humans to beehives. It moves ahead, waits, moves further, waits again, guiding hunters directly to the honey. Local communities have developed specific calls the birds recognize and respond to. This partnership is estimated to be at least 10,000 years old. A working relationship between a bird and a human population, maintained across millennia. The metallic blue of a morpho butterfly's wings contains no blue pigment whatsoever. The color is produced entirely by microscopic ridges on the wing scales that refract and reflect specific wavelengths of light. It is structural color, the same physics behind a soap bubble or an oil slick. The blue doesn't exist in the wing itself. It exists in how the wing interacts with light. The horned lizard of the American Southwest, when threatened, restricts blood flow out of its head until pressure builds and tiny vessels around the eyes rupture, ejecting a jet of blood up to 5 feet at a predator. It is a deliberately activated defense mechanism. The animal chooses to do this. That detail doesn't get less remarkable with repetition. A female deep-sea octopus was observed guarding her egg clutch for 4.5 years without eating. No food, no breaks, no movement away from the eggs. When they finally hatched, she died. It remains the longest brooding period ever recorded for any animal on Earth. There is no framework for describing that level of biological commitment that doesn't feel insufficient. Antarctic fur seals were hunted so aggressively in the 18th and 19th centuries that the scientific community declared them globally extinct. Then, in 1819, a surviving colony was rediscovered. They had persisted in an area simply too remote to have been reached. A species written off as gone had been quietly continuing, out of reach, the entire time. In some jawfish species, the male holds fertilized eggs in his mouth for weeks without eating, constantly tumbling and aerating them to keep them oxygenated until they hatch. No food, no relief. Just sustained, silent incubation until the job is done. Whales carry small, non-functional pelvic bones embedded in their body tissue, remnants of the hip structures their land-dwelling ancestors possessed roughly 50 million years ago. The bones serve no current purpose. They are simply still there, retained across millions of years of evolution, a record of a body plan the animal no longer uses. Trees planted in cities live an average of just 13 years. Trees in forests live over 100. The difference is almost entirely soil. Urban ground is compacted, fragmented, and chemically degraded by infrastructure. Every city tree is growing in conditions actively working against it, and most of them quietly lose that fight within a decade. The Pantanal in South America is the world's largest tropical wetland, spanning up to 195,000 square kilometers across Brazil, Bolivia, and Paraguay. It supports one of the highest concentrations of wildlife on the planet. It receives a fraction of the scientific and public attention directed at the Amazon. The scale of what's there and the scale of what's being overlooked don't sit comfortably next to each other. Neptune was discovered through mathematics, before it was ever directly observed. Scientists noticed unexplained gravitational wobbles in Uranus's orbit, calculated where the source of those wobbles had to be, and pointed a telescope at that exact position. Neptune was exactly where the math said it would be. It was reasoned into existence before anyone looked for it. The world's largest waterfall is not Niagara. It is not Angel Falls. It is entirely underwater. The Denmark Strait Cataract, between Iceland and Greenland, where cold, dense water plunges 3,500 meters beneath warmer Atlantic water in a continuous cascade. No human has ever seen it directly. It has been happening, unobserved, since long before anyone was around to notice. Each individual trap of a Venus flytrap can only fully close and reopen roughly 7 to 10 times before that leaf dies. Every unnecessary trigger, every curious poke, uses up one of those closures permanently. The plant is running on a finite budget, and it has no way to recover what gets spent carelessly. Roosters crow at volumes that would permanently damage the hearing of most animals. To protect themselves, they have a partial ear closing adaptation, a biological mechanism that seals part of the ear canal precisely when they crow. The animal is producing the sound and muffling it simultaneously. Evolution resolved that problem quietly and efficiently, without anyone asking it to. The bone-eating worm Osidax has no mouth and no stomach. It grows acid-secreting roots directly into whale bones on the seafloor and absorbs nutrients through its skin. Whale carcasses that sink to the ocean floor become ecosystems, and Osidax is one of the organisms that makes that possible, breaking down the bone from the inside through roots without ever having a digestive tract. The archerfish spits a precise jet of water up to 3 meters to knock insects off branches above the surface. What makes it genuinely unusual is what happens before the shot. The fish automatically compensates for the refraction of light at the water's surface, correcting its aim to account for the way light bends between water and air. It is solving an applied physics problem in real time, every time it hunts. A cat's whiskers can detect subtle changes in air pressure and current, allowing the animal to sense nearby objects and moving prey in complete darkness. They are not navigating by memory or sound alone. They are reading the air around them continuously, a sensory system so precise it effectively maps the environment through movement the animal itself isn't making. The Richet structure in Mauritania is a 50-kilometer wide circular geological formation visible clearly from space. For decades, it was assumed to be a meteor impact crater. The shape and scale seem to leave few other options. It is actually the deeply eroded remains of an ancient volcanic dome. The Earth produced something that looks exactly like a catastrophic impact scar entirely through its own internal processes. Between July and November, the Caño Cristales River in Colombia turns vivid shades of red, pink, yellow, green, and blue, caused by a unique aquatic plant on the riverbed that blooms only under specific seasonal light conditions. It exists in this form for a few months each year in one river and nowhere else on Earth. People call it the liquid rainbow. The name is not an exaggeration. The glass catfish of Southeast Asia is completely transparent. Its skeleton, organs, and beating heart are visible through its skin. It moves in schools, which means the effect is multiplied, a group of fish, each one displaying its own interior, swimming together in formation. There is nothing subtle about what the glass catfish is doing, and it has been doing it for a very long time. Earth is the densest planet in the solar system. Not the largest, not the most massive, the densest. Its iron-nickel core gives it more mass per unit of volume than any other planet in the solar neighborhood. We live on the heaviest, most compacted world in our immediate corner of space, and most people have never thought about it once. The Welwitschia mirabilis of the Namibian desert grows exactly 2 leaves across its entire lifetime, which can exceed 1,000 years. The honey badger's skin is so loose and elastic that when grabbed from behind, the animal can physically rotate inside its own skin and bite its attacker. The grip that should immobilize it becomes irrelevant. There is no effective hold on a honey badger, and the animal appears to be fully aware of this. Many fish, including the spotted sea trout, communicate by vibrating muscles against their swim bladder to produce grunts, knocks, and rhythmic pulses. The ocean is not a quiet place. It is filled with ongoing acoustic communication happening across every depth and distance, a layer of the world that exists entirely outside what most people ever hear or think about. On Vadhu Island in the Maldives, bioluminescent phytoplankton cause the breaking waves to glow electric blue at night. Each wave lights up as it crashes. The shoreline pulses with cold blue light produced by living organisms responding to movement. It is not a special event. It is not seasonal. It simply happens every night on that beach. Emperor penguins dive to depths of 565 meters and hold their breath for over 22 minutes on a single dive. For reference, that exceeds the recreational depth range of most submarines. The animal is built for something that should not be physically possible for a bird, and it does it routinely. When a honeybee leaves its stinger embedded in skin, the stinger continues pumping venom autonomously for up to a full minute after separation from the bee. The faster it is removed, the less venom is delivered. Most people's instinct is to pinch or pick at it, which slows removal and increases delivery. The correct response is to flick it away immediately. The bee is already gone. There is no reason to let the mechanism finish its work. Humpback whale songs evolve over time. New phrases originate with individual whales and spread gradually across entire ocean populations, moving through the Pacific from one animal to the next like a slow cultural transmission. The songs change. They spread. They get adopted and modified. Humpback whales have been running a continuously evolving musical tradition across the open ocean for far longer than recorded human music has existed. Dolphins in Shark Bay, Australia have been observed fitting sea sponges over their snouts before probing rough seafloor sediment for fish. The behavior protects their snouts from abrasion. It is passed from mothers to daughters across generations. It is a tool-use tradition, a learned skill being transmitted through a family line. That distinction matters. In certain deserts, sand dunes produce sound. When dry, uniformly sized grains slide against each other under the right conditions. They generate low, resonant hums that can reach over 100 decibels. The phenomenon has been documented across multiple continents. Local populations described it for centuries before it was formally studied. The physics behind it is still not completely understood. The death's head hawk moth enters beehives without being detected or stung by emitting chemical compounds that replicate the colony's own scent signature. It moves freely through tens of thousands of bees, collects honey, and leaves. The entire colony is present. None of them identify it as a threat. The moth has been doing this successfully for as long as beehives have existed. The mountain gorilla's skin beneath its dark fur is jet black, an adaptation that improves heat absorption in the cool, high-altitude, mist-covered forests it inhabits. The animal is calibrated for its environment at every level, including the layer hidden beneath its coat. Nothing about the mountain gorilla is accidental. The hairy frogfish walks along the seafloor on its pectoral fins rather than swimming. When it strikes prey, it opens and closes its mouth in approximately 6 milliseconds, one of the fastest predatory movements recorded in the animal kingdom. The contrast between how slowly it moves between strikes and how fast the strike itself happens is difficult to process. The velvet worm has existed for over 500 million years, with almost no change to its body plan. When hunting, it fires rapidly hardening threads of sticky slime from glands on either side of its head, immobilizing prey before it can escape. The stoat turns completely white in winter for snow camouflage, a phase historically called ermine. Its white pelt with the black tail tip became the defining visual element of royal robes and ceremonial crowns across centuries of European history. A small predator adapted its coat for winter survival, and, entirely without intending to, became the symbol of monarchy. The stoat had no part in that decision and continues to have no opinion about it. The cannonball tree grows its flowers and fruit not from its canopy, but directly from its trunk, on thick, looping branches that emerge straight from the bark. The fruits are enormous, dense, and round. The whole arrangement looks like something biology produced by accident. It didn't. The tree has been doing this for a very long time, in its own way, without apology. The Mariana snailfish was collected at 8,178 meters beneath the Pacific surface, the deepest fish ever documented. At that depth, the pressure is approximately 800 times greater than at sea level. The fish is pale, small, and entirely unremarkable in appearance. It lives in conditions that should make complex life impossible. It does not appear bothered by this. The vampire squid does not hunt. It trails two long, sticky filaments through the water to passively collect drifting organic particles, fragments of dead matter slowly descending through the deep ocean. It floats. It waits. It collects what drifts to it. The most passive feeding strategy in the deep sea belongs to an animal whose name was chosen to suggest the opposite. Every winter, the wood frog of North America freezes solid, heart stopped, breathing ceased, ice forming through its tissues. In every clinical sense, the animal is dead. In spring, It thaws and resumes normal activity. Its cells are protected by glucose acting as a biological antifreeze. The frog does not survive winter. It suspends itself through it and comes back when conditions allow. That this is possible in a vertebrate remains one of the stranger facts in cold climate biology. Early European settlers in East Africa blamed a vivid yellow-green tree for causing malaria and named it the fever tree. The tree had nothing to do with malaria. The mosquitoes carrying the disease simply preferred the same waterlogged habitats the tree favored. The association was environmental, not causal. The fever tree was misidentified as a source of disease for decades based entirely on proximity. It is worth remembering how often that particular error gets made. Gorillas have been observed sitting quietly and watching sunsets. Primatologists describe this as one of the most compelling indicators of aesthetic awareness documented in non-human primates. They are not eating, grooming, or doing anything that advances survival. They are watching. What that means, what is actually happening in those moments, remains genuinely open. In 1963, volcanic activity from the ocean floor off Iceland produced a new island from nothing. It was named Surtsey. Within decades, without any human intervention, the island was colonized by bacteria, then plants, then birds, then seals, then invertebrates. Life assembled itself on bare volcanic rock, without assistance, starting from zero. The process took less time than most people would expect. The blue-ringed octopus is small enough to fit in a human palm. It carries enough venom to kill 26 adults within minutes. There is no antivenom. The animal is found in shallow coastal waters across the Pacific and Indian Oceans, and it is not aggressive by nature. It bites when handled or accidentally stepped on. The size is not a reliable indicator of anything. Cashews do not grow underground inside a shell. They grow attached to the outside of a fleshy fruit called the cashew apple, hanging exposed at the bottom like an appendage. The apple itself is edible and reportedly quite good, but it bruises so easily during transport that it is almost never exported. Most people who eat cashews regularly have never seen what the plant actually looks like. The grocery store version leaves a great deal out. 55 Cancri. E is a planet roughly twice the size of Earth, orbiting a star about 40 light-years away. Based on its density and composition, scientists estimate that up to a third of its total mass could be diamond, with a surface likely covered in graphite rather than rock. It is, in the most literal sense, a diamond planet. Whether that information is useful to anyone is a separate question. Your taste buds are completely replaced every 10 to 14 days. The ones you have now are not the ones you had 2 weeks ago. This cellular turnover is part of why flavor preferences can shift meaningfully over a lifetime. What your palate does with information changes as the equipment processing it changes. The person who hated a particular food as a child and tolerates it as an adult is not entirely wrong to feel like a different person in that specific respect. The footprints left by Apollo astronauts on the lunar surface will remain unchanged for at least 100 million years. The moon has no wind, no rain, and no geological activity at the surface capable of disturbing them. They are sitting there right now, exactly as they were left, and will continue to be for longer than most geological features on Earth will last. Presence without erosion is a difficult thing to fully imagine. Pineapples contain an enzyme called bromelain that actively breaks down proteins on contact. While you are eating pineapple, it is simultaneously digesting the lining of your mouth. The soreness after eating too much of it is not a reaction to acidity or sugar. The fruit is, in a limited and temporary sense, consuming you back. Cooking the pineapple denatures the enzyme and stops the process entirely, which is one argument for pineapple on pizza that rarely gets made. Lesotho is a country completely enclosed within South Africa. It shares no border with any other nation. 2 other countries share this characteristic, Vatican City and San Marino, both enclosed within Italy. Lesotho is the only one of the three that is a landlocked country enclosed within another landlocked country, which makes its geographic situation genuinely unusual, even among unusual geographic situations. Humans are the only animals known to produce emotional tears. Every other species that generates tears does so for mechanical reasons, lubrication, flushing out irritants. The connection between emotional experience and lacrimal response appears to be unique to humans. Why that particular physiological link exists and what evolutionary function it serves is not fully resolved. When crows encounter a dead crow, they gather around the body in large, noisy groups. They mob nearby predators and spend time observing the scene before dispersing. Researchers who have studied this behavior formally describe it as a crow funeral, not as a metaphor, but as a functional description of what the behavior appears to accomplish. The birds are processing information about what killed the individual and updating their threat assessments accordingly. That it resembles a funeral is not entirely coincidental. Canada contains more lakes than all other countries on Earth combined, holding approximately 60% of the world's total freshwater lakes. The number is difficult to state with precision because new ones are still being identified. The scale of Canadian freshwater relative to global supply is large enough that it affects geopolitical conversations about long-term resource distribution. Most maps do not adequately convey it. If all the empty space between the atoms in every living human were removed, the entire population of Earth would fit into a volume roughly the size of a sugar cube. Matter is mostly space. The solidity of objects, including the human body, is a product of electromagnetic forces between particles rather than particles themselves occupying volume. The sugar cube comparison is accurate and does not become less disorienting with repetition. Fire tornadoes form when intense heat and turbulent wind conditions interact in a specific configuration, producing a rotating column of fire. They can exceed 160 kilometers per hour and extend hundreds of meters into the sky. They are not common, but they are not rare enough to be considered exceptional events. They occur naturally during wildfires and have been documented across multiple continents. The name is accurate. Black ivory coffee is produced by feeding coffee beans to Thai elephants and collecting them after digestion. A single pound costs approximately $500. The digestive process alters the bean's chemical profile in ways that affect the final flavor, reducing bitterness and changing the protein structure. It is the most expensive commercially available coffee in the world. Whether the price is justified is a matter of perspective that most people will never be in a position to evaluate personally. The human body generates enough metabolic heat in 30 minutes to bring nearly half a liter of water to a full boil. The body is continuously producing this heat and continuously dissipating it through the skin, respiration, and other mechanisms. Core temperature is maintained within a narrow range, not because heat production is modest, but because the regulatory systems managing it are precise. The energy output is significant. Most of it goes unnoticed. More than 90% of Earth's volcanic activity occurs underwater, concentrated along the mid-ocean ridge system, a continuous chain of submarine mountains that circles the entire planet. It is the longest mountain range on Earth by a considerable margin and the most volcanically active. The majority of it has never been directly observed by humans. The planet's most active geological feature is also one of its least examined. The town of Barl-Hertog straddles the border between Belgium and the Netherlands in an arrangement complicated enough to require floor markings inside buildings. The national boundary runs directly through houses, restaurants, and shops. In some properties, different rooms are in different countries. Which country's laws apply at any given moment depends on where you are standing. The border was established through a series of medieval land agreements and has never been fully rationalized. Svalbard, the Norwegian archipelago in the high Arctic, has approximately 3,000 polar bears within its territory and around 2,700 permanent human residents. The bears outnumber the people. Residents leaving the main settlement are officially advised to carry a firearm. The bears are protected by law, and the humans are aware of where they live relative to that population. The two groups manage the coexistence with varying degrees of incident. Almost every bone in the human body is replaced at the cellular level over a period of roughly 10 years. Old bone cells are continuously broken down and replaced by new ones in a process called remodeling. The skeleton you currently have is, in terms of its actual material composition, almost entirely different from the one you had a decade ago. The shape is retained. The substance is not. In January 2006, a northern bottlenose whale entered the River Thames and swam through central London. It was the first whale documented in the Thames in recorded history. Tens of thousands of people gathered along the riverbanks to observe it. Rescue teams attempted to guide it back to open water. It died during the process. The event remains the only confirmed whale sighting in the river, and the circumstances surrounding it were not particularly triumphant for anyone involved. Vanilla must be hand-pollinated almost everywhere it is grown because its only native pollinator, the Melipona bee, exists only in Mexico. In every other vanilla-producing region, workers pollinate each flower individually by hand, transferring pollen with a small stick or toothpick in a window of roughly 12 hours when the flower is open. The global vanilla supply depends on this manual process being performed at scale, repeatedly, by human labor. There is no shortcut that has proven viable. A group of owls is called a parliament. The term dates back centuries, grounded in the owl's long-standing cultural association with wisdom and formal deliberation. When lightning strikes dry sand, the extreme heat confused the grains along the path of the bolt, forming hollow glass tubes called fulgurites. They can extend several meters underground and preserve the exact branching path the lightning took. Pluto has mountain ranges composed entirely of water ice, with some peaks exceeding 3,000 meters, comparable in height to portions of the Rocky Mountains. Male dolphins have been observed presenting objects, sea sponges, shells, coral fragments, to females during courtship. The behavior has been documented in multiple populations and across different object types. Saturday takes its name from Saturn, the Roman god of generation, dissolution, plenty, wealth, agriculture, periodic renewal, and liberation. It is the only day of the English week to retain its Latin planetary name directly. The others were largely replaced by Germanic equivalents during the early medieval period. Saturn was responsible for quite a wide portfolio. The day named after him is mostly used for errands. Donkey Kong was named by his creator, Hiroshi Yamauchi, who believed the word donkey meant stupid in English and wanted to communicate that the character was a foolish or stubborn ape. The word does not mean that. The name stuck regardless, became one of the most recognized in gaming history. Rice alone provides more than 1/5 of all calories consumed by humans globally. A single crop sustains that share of the entire species' energy intake. It is the dietary foundation for populations across Asia, parts of Africa, and Latin America, and has been cultivated for somewhere between 9 and 13,000 years. The scale of dependence on one plant is difficult to overstate. Boanthropy is a documented psychological disorder in which a person believes themselves to be a cow and attempts to live accordingly, grazing, moving on all fours, behaving in ways consistent with that belief. It is rare. It has been recorded across different cultures and periods, including what some researchers believe may be a reference to it in the Book of Daniel. The condition is genuine. The experience of it is presumably total, and the clinical literature on it is limited. A duel between three people is called a truel. The term follows the same Latin root structure as duel, duo for two, tres for three. The stage of cold injury that precedes frostbite is called frostnip. The skin reddens and loses sensation, but the tissue has not yet frozen. It is reversible with rewarming and does not cause permanent damage if addressed. Frostbite, by contrast, involves ice crystal formation within tissue and can result in lasting injury. The distinction matters clinically. The naming convention, for once, is straightforward. Dogs consistently orient their bodies along the north-south geomagnetic axis when relieving themselves, preferring to face either north or south and avoiding the east-west direction. This was confirmed through a 2-year study, observing nearly 70 dogs across 37 breeds. The behavior disappears during periods of geomagnetic instability. Dogs are therefore doing something during a routine outdoor activity that most humans cannot do at all without assistance. The dog is not aware of this. During the Stone Age, the entire population of Central Europe was small enough to fit aboard a single modern cruise ship. Population density across the continent was extraordinarily low by any current measure, and the total number of people occupying the region for thousands of years represents a fraction of what now lives in a single major city. The longest television advertisement ever produced runs for 14 hours. It was created by IKEA in Canada in 2019 and broadcast in its entirety on a Canadian shopping channel. The typical gap between one person finishing speaking and another beginning to respond in conversation is approximately 200 milliseconds. This is consistent across multiple languages and cultures, suggesting the timing is not a social convention, but a product of how the brain processes incoming speech and prepares a reply simultaneously. The response is being prepared before the other person has finished speaking. Let us know in the comments which one got you the most. We'd love to hear it. If you enjoyed this, a like really does help us out, and subscribing means you won't miss what we put out next. We'll see you in the next one. Take care.